As always, we are back again with more Peak One Punch Man. The fight between Serious Saitama and Garou has done some absolute insanity we've never seen before in the One Punch Man story. And on top of all that, is this Saitama getting hurt by Garou's punch here and actually bleeding? Maybe. Pretty wild. The chapter before this ended with Garou killing Genos and Saitama getting serious and about to hit Garou with a serious punch. Garou copying Saitama once again and sending a serious punch back at him. So, serious punch versus serious punch? We have some insanity. Of course, we have Blast coming in clutch, saving the planet from being destroyed, teleports them to space. A crazy explosion, and it seems as though based on stuff we see later in the chapter that Garou is able to equal out Saitama with this copy, so Garou's copy is kinda beyond busted. This blast seems as though it actually destroyed a whole planet or a moon. I'm not quite 100% sure about that, but that is something far above anything else we've seen in the One Punch Man story so far. Before I continue, welcome to the Mysterious Weeb channel, a place where I talk about fighting, manga mostly. If you're new here and enjoy One Punch Man, consider hitting that subscribe button, it's greatly appreciated. Now, let's continue. If you don't remember, the allies of Blast having these blacked out silhouettes, a lot of their stuff was kinda cut out with redraws, but we get to see more of them here helping out Blast, stop Garou and Saitama from pretty much destroying everything. But regarding their fight they have here, absolute insanity. It seems as though they're on Jupiter, Mars, or some random planet. I don't know what it is. A lot of dialogue this chapter from Saitama, which is pretty cool, but him getting serious. We see Garou trying to use Blast's move on him. As you know, he's able to copy that after that little exchange he had last chapter with Blast. Already pretty much mastered it. So this fight is kinda a fight between Saitama and Blast, or giving us an understanding of how that could potentially go, unless Blast was holding back against Garou to a significant degree. And we did see Blast kind of get all sweaty and worried about fighting Garou. So this gives me the sense that Blast may not be, you know, the crazy strong character that we were theorizing would fight Saitama in the future and give him that crazy fight. In the previous chapter, he seemed very sweaty about the idea of Garou fully connecting with God, maybe giving the sense that that connection would be way too strong for the likes of Blast potentially. That's just something you can think about. But Saitama, after the initial clash, is able to start beating up Garou, landing a punch, and then Garou trying to use Blast's technique and with his insane speed and abilities is trying to attack Saitama. Of course, it's not working, continues trying to use it, pulling out new moves, creating new stuff, hitting this crazy combo on Saitama. All these crazy named attacks, which of course I don't know their names to, but landing a attack on Saitama, sending him flying. And then we pretty much have the table flip or serious table flip where Saitama kinda splits apart a whole planet with his raw power and then hits Garou with this insane combo as well, like absolute insanity. We have Garou trying to run away, of course that isn't enough, but the fact that Garou is able to tank a lot of these shots on Saitama is absolute madness. If you haven't came to the conclusion that Garou is by far the strongest person Saitama's faced so far, I think you're pretty delusional at this point. Garou is way above anything we saw from Boros by a significant degree, but we do see him getting beat up quite a bit by Saitama this chapter. And then in the final panels with Garou copying this Saitama once again and landing an attack back, which may actually show Saitama getting hurt with him spitting out some blood potentially. So that is some insanity. Of course, his whole reason for killing Genos was to see the full power of Saitama, then in turn copy that power and end up surpassing it so he can be pretty much the strongest creature around. And will he be able to do that? It seems as though his like cosmic like mask is cracking, similar to how he kinda cracked earlier in the arc with his like monsterized form when he had his whole fight with Bang and everything like that. So maybe a similar thing is happening here where Saitama is going to beat up Garou so much that his power boost from God is actually going to break when his like face starts to crack open. We see the human form of Garou. That's where I personally see it going, but I wasn't really expecting Garou to be able to keep up to this insane degree, and I am very impressed by that. I had the feeling that Saitama was just going to one-shot Garou this chapter and like blow up a planet, but we got that plus much more insanity, which is pretty much perfect. Can't go wrong with that. And it seems as though this fight still has maybe even a few more chapters to go, which is incredible. Like, this art was insane. Peak once again. It didn't have like the insane dramatic moment that, you know, last chapter had with the crazy good close-ups of Saitama's reaction to what Garou did to Genos. But again, this chapter is pretty much perfect. We got color pages officially in the thing once again. Like, Murata, honestly, I have this no words for. The words I can come up with to praise him honestly just aren't enough for the stuff I get to see. It seems as though for the remainder of this fight, Blast and his allies are going to try and contain all the damage they're causing. But they're no longer on Earth. Saitama is beaming around from planet to planet, fighting Cosmic Fear Garou now. Very clearly, Saitama is immune to, you know, the radiation poisoning. We did see Saitama back in the Boros fight, not being able to breathe on the moon. He seems to be fine now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we learned that Saitama has just been holding his breath the whole time while doing all this insanity, like lifting up and destroying the whole planet. And of course, there's probably still a lot more of Saitama's power we haven't seen. But I'm so glad we're finally getting some very wild feats in the One Punch Man verse finally, especially from Saitama. People love talking about how he's a gay character. I personally don't really like saying that Saitama's a gay character, that One Punch Man's a gay manga. There is a fairly decent amount of comedy, but I do view it more as like a shonen fighting manga for me personally. Even if it isn't categorized as that, I don't even know what it's categorized as if I'm being fair, but that's what I personally experience and view the story as. So finally seeing what Saitama is able to do with his insane power and the destructive capabilities of that is something we've been waiting for a very, very long time, and I'm finally glad we get to see that. And I wonder if it's going to get even more insane, as at the end of the chapter we see Garou adapting to Saitama once again, being able to copy his attack and equal him out. So if Saitama is going to use more and more of his power, will Garou be able to keep up with his copying, and what extent can he actually reach with that? That is the question I am pretty much ending today's video with. So once again, One Punch Man chapter 167 was some absolute insanity. Peak once more. I'll probably make another video talking about some specific things I want to mention regarding Saitama and Garou and how strong they've become, so I'll make that video later in the week. But if you haven't already, make sure to check out all the other stuff in the description, Discord, etc. if you need chapter links, and of course shout out to the mad lads who support the channel via the Patreon. But this has been Mysterious Weeb in his mysterious outfit. That's it guys, peace.